You, like I, want to create an online program. There are some things you're going to want to know. One thing that I know is that where I work, there is only a very few fellow instructors that could create an online class. Therefore, the idea of a full program will have to start with one class as a pilot. In some respects, that can be better than a full program rollout that fails miserably because the foundation work wasn't done. Education is changing every day, and one of the biggest changes is from the blackboard to the device screen. When creating an online class or program, you want to know where you can successfully roll it out. Here, we'll look at some of the challenges and potential solutions for getting an online class actually adopted. First, figure out whom you are trying to teach to. This is different than who you are trying to teach for. You may teach it for a brick-and-mortar school or as part of a conference prep. Maybe it's included in a K-12 homeschooling program or for yourself. These are whom you teach for. Who you teach to has far-reaching possibilities, and this is whom you must think of when creating your class and program. Yes, of course, whom you teach for will be a consideration, but the students are your first priority. Your second priority is to leap some of the hurdles of getting your class recognized and adopted. What hurdles, you ask? I show you some of the big ones and some ways to tackle them.
Some teachers think that online teaching isn't real teaching. We fear what we don't know. So, make yourself and your class approachable. Let fellow teachers take your class for a ride. Some brick and mortar teachers think that online teachers are going to take their jobs. If you're already in a learning environment, only offer classes that don't infringe on others' turf or subject. Be clear with your fellow workers and other teachers you interact with that we will always need in-person teachers, and that online teachers are only expanding how many students can get access. It's so much more work to make online classes, especially in the creation phase. This one's definitely requires eyes on the prize thinking. Remember, if you created your class well, the actual rollout will be fairly easy, and then you can give the class more than once as part of a program. The approval process can be daunting. True. And getting a mentor can help guide you and your administration through the steps. Don't try and recreate the wheel. People have done this before. Follow their examples. Just because I made the class doesn't mean I get to keep it. Who owns the class is negotiable and/or up for debate, depending on where you're giving the class. Everything from you own it to they own it and you can't make changes without their approval, and everything in between. Be aware of what the rules are, and then you can decide if it's the place to distribute your classes from. The technical support team may not be prepared. In all honesty, this may be a bit of a learning period for you and the IT department in terms of what challenges may come up. However, trying to foresee some of the challenges beforehand can help. The school's initial outlay of time and money can be fairly high, and therefore projections and educated estimates should be made beforehand so no one is shocked. Understanding and making space for all the stages of the technology adoption cycle will make it a less bumpy ride. Those are time commitment, competence development, ed tech course design, teaching and learning experience, and reflection. Compensation is all over the map. First, don't count on a full-time job from one school. These are very rare and usually require a PhD. There are two basic ways to get the numbers, either headcount or per class. The headcount version usually wants students to actually complete the class. The per class seems to run in the 1,200 to 2,000 range, depending on what's being taught and the experience level of the instructor. Many schools may limit how many classes you can teach per year to 6. This means even if you got $2,000 per class, you'd only make about $12,000 for the year, and that's before taxes and without benefits. Yes, you can work at a number of schools, but even with 18 classes, which would be a punishing schedule, for the year that's only $36,000 before taxes. It can be done. There are those who make a great deal of money teaching online courses, especially when the funding is done privately. However, we need to be aware that it isn't typical, and that the beginning salary for a brand new, very full-time online teacher is on par with, or a bit less than, depending on where you live, the beginning salary for a brick-and-mortar teacher. I believe that as the validity, understanding, and acceptance of online teaching continues to grow, so will the pay scale. In creating a program for the nonprofit that I work for, it has to start somewhere. So I say, why not with me? Good luck, everyone.